It's Saturday! This week we are talking about coming out stories. I'm going to talk about coming out to my parents because that was really the big one to me. I don't think about coming out to my friends. I didn't really see it as, I don't know, I just wouldn't call it like a coming out story. When I first came out, I was coming out as bisexual. I was 15 and I was involved with my first girlfriend. Even when I was with her, I called myself straight, and my wording of how I came out to them will kind of further that. When I was a sophomore, there was an issue that came up. I got involved in this illegal thing, and the sheriff advised me to tell my parents about my sexuality and also what I was being investigated for. Not that I did anything. I can't explain it without it sounding bad, but I mean, it wasn't good. But anyhow, I kind of used my sexuality to hopefully lighten the load of telling them what else was going on. I sat them down one night and I said, first off, I'm not straight. Second off, yeah, that wasn't very good. And oddly enough, the big reaction came from my mother. When I think about coming out, I would think that my dad would be the one who would freak out because my dad was the bishop for 6 years. And after he was released from being bishop, he became a high councilman. So either way, he's a religious guy who holds authoritative positions in the church. And so I really thought that he would be the one to freak out. After I said that, my dad said, well, why do you think that you're not straight? I was nervous that if I told him about dating this girl that they wouldn't let me see her. So I simply said, I just know. And that was about all that happened with my sexuality from there. Then my mother didn't look at me or talk to me for about 3 days. If anybody knows me, one of the main things I feel that I need to do is I need to meet my parents' expectations, and I need to not be a disappointment to them. Because I feel like I've already done so much stuff in my life that is a letdown for them, and I don't like that. I vividly remember in January of 2010, I took a trip to San Francisco, and I was laying there. Suddenly, this realization came into my mind, and I remember thinking, oh my god, I am a lesbian. It scared me so much. When I finally came out to my parents as a lesbian, I was at BYU, Idaho, which is a Mormon university. I did it through text message. I didn't want to have to see it on their faces. I didn't want to have to hear that awkward silence. I was scared. I said, Dad, would you still love me if I was a lesbian? And he said, of course. So I replied, well, I am. He texted me and said, we love you because you are our daughter. And I was like, okay, that went well. Then I came home for winter break, and I wasn't attending Brigham Young University anymore. So I was at home until towards the end of January, and it was kind of weird because I would say things like, Mom, Mila Kunis is really attractive. Mom, would it be too typical lesbian for me to get this plaid flannel button-up shirt? I am an only child. I'm not used to being ignored. And my parents had never ignored me in my entire life. So at first I took it as humorous, and I didn't really understand. So then I moved out, and I came back home one weekend, and my father was talking about how we had some free movie rentals, and he was going down the line of the ones that we could get. Inception, Despicable Me, The Kids Are Alright, and when he said The Kids Are Alright, my mom, she kind of like nudged him. That was similar to, whoa, why are you saying that? You know that she'll want to see it. Shh. She got mad and ended up walking away. And so I said, well, we don't have to get that if mom is uncomfortable with the subject matter. And again, it was getting ignored. And suddenly, I realized that she was genuinely having issues with my sexuality. And I was so surprised because what they wrote to me was always, we just want you to be happy, blah, 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 blah. And then I got mad. She was ignoring me. And so I said, Mom, you know you have to get over that, right? And she ignored me again. So after that, my home didn't feel like home to me. And I didn't want to be there, and I didn't feel safe, and I didn't feel comfortable. So the next morning, I left. And I didn't talk to them for about a week and a half. And then I went home because I had to do laundry again. It was really awkward. So I finally said, are we gonna talk? I said, well, first off, I know I haven't told you this face to face, so I'll tell you now. I'm a lesbian. And we talked about it, and then I asked why they ignored me, and my mom said she didn't know what to say. My dad started crying, and that was really hard for me. He said, it just wasn't something that I expected from you. Not something you expect from your kid. And that was the hardest part, because I felt like I was disappointing him again, like I do a lot. I suddenly felt okay, because they had finally not ignored me, and they had acknowledged the fact that I had come out to them. Now, sometimes I can tell when they're uncomfortable, but the thing is that it's on its way up, and that's the only way it can go, and it'll get better, and it's gonna take time. Sometimes it takes years before things get better, but the thing is that they do. So many people tell me I could never tell my parents. They're really Christian. They're really homophobic. But I will always tell you that you can easily be surprised by their reactions. They've devoted so much time to you already that giving you up for your sexual orientation for this one thing is not an option. Sometimes things are really bad, but there is always hope. There will always be a way up, a way out. It is completely possible for a family to live amongst each other without having the same views. My father coordinated Yes on Prop 8 in our district. I am really against Prop 8. Even though they don't support it, they can still support me as their child. And I truly hope that one day everyone doesn't have that fear of coming out, of going against what is expected, going against the majority. I really hope that everybody at some point who is struggling with coming out will someday feel comfortable enough that they can do that they won't have that fear. I think that's what the world should aspire to be. Fearless. I truly, truly wish the best to all of you, and if anyone needs someone to talk to, I'm here. I guess that's it. I'm sorry this is so lengthy. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys will come watch next Saturday. Comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what I can do. I love you all.